This is Tech Gears. My name is Levi, and today I just wanted to do a quick non-scientific analysis on the 4K 120 available on the Sony ZV-E1. So if we take a look at this bad boy, and let's see if it focuses here. This was super easy to actually upgrade. You put the SD card in, and essentially it asks you, do you want to load it? You hit OK, and it's done. I use the 35mm GM. It is still warm to the touch. Right now in Chicago, it's 75 degrees, so pretty much room temperature as you'd imagine, but I did put it out here partially in the sun. You can kind of see the rays on my face here. So in that really basic testing, I did an initial run and it did 13 minutes and 20 seconds, maybe it was 10 seconds, of 4K 120. For me, that is perfectly fine. For me, if I'm doing 4K 120, it's going to be in bursts of a batter swinging, or maybe if I'm recording a game of such, I'll actually use the 4K 120 just for like a penalty kick in soccer. I'm not using it for long stretches. The fact they can do 13 minutes, I was actually pleasantly surprised for. So far, using this for a few gigs, even in 4K 60, I usually record 1 minute to 3 minute max stretches, and I've never had any issues. And then even doing 4K 24, I rarely go over an hour. So as of right now, the E1 the ZV-E1 has really been fantastic. Now, if I do need to do long form recording, if I'm doing an interview, which I haven't done yet, if I'm recording speeches, I do prefer to bring like an A7S III, or what I'm recording on now, the FX30, which I can trust. But even then, most of the speeches I'm doing are 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I've done a few birthday parties, and the E1 has been really nice. So again, the 4K 120 on this in the sun, 75-degree weather, I was able to get 13 minutes on it. Now, the second run, I did let it cool down a little bit. I opened all the ports to allow some heat to escape, but maybe I should have put this on a tripod. I had it on a table just resting on something, and it only got 2 minutes and 2 seconds on the second run. So, and even right now, I'm recording this about 5 minutes after the second run. It's still pretty warm. So it's not too warm to touch. If I'm holding this, I'm perfectly fine. But obviously, I would want this on a monopod, a tripod. I can let the heat escape. If I were to open the battery door, I know that does help a little bit. I think 4K 60 is something that people will do more long form recording if you're recording an entire football game or soccer game. And for that, I don't think this is going to be suitable. But for most content creators, if you're shooting any kind of events where obviously you're not doing the entire thing, you're not doing a whole speech or ceremony, this thing has been awesome. I think the biggest factor for the E1 is really the size. I do have a cage coming in. Tilta just announced one. Small Rig has one, so if you did want a little bit bigger grip, I'm wondering if that can help with the heat dissipation at all. And it does make it a little bit more comfortable as you put bigger lenses on here. Generally, I do use APS-C lenses on here, if you guys saw that video, which keeps this really small. And with the APS-C lens, with a dynamic steady shot, or just even punching in 10-20% with the clear image zoom, you have a super small light setup that is still giving you great image quality. But if I'm shooting events, I do bring my GM lenses, and this is something a little more that I would use, a 35mm GM. I usually have this along with an APS-C lens, so if I am taking photos, if I do need something full frame, I have that available. But 4K 120, 13 minutes, I'm pretty happy with that. The update is super simple and really straightforward, and using it, the fact that it just works and I can get 10 minutes plus no problem, let it cool down, go back in 4K 24, use it like normal. Yeah, good job, Sony. Hopefully, they do issue some future updates with any more improvements with the heat dissipation and how it can do, kind of like Canon did when that first came out. But so far, no real issues. This is the first test I've done where I just let it sit out in the sun. Not a normal case versus moving around, being in wind or being indoors where it's a little more climate controlled. But I'm happy with the results. Hopefully that helps you out if you're considering E1. Can definitely highly recommend for a lot of use cases. You just got to decide if it's going to be worth it for you. This is Levi with Tech Gears. Appreciate you guys, and I'll come at you later.